Out. Alright, so this is going to be our very first clutch update. This is actually my second clutch of the year, but I wasn't filming YouTube videos at the time of the first, and that clutch wouldn't have been, well, it would have been exciting because I got a surprise albino, but there were only 2 hatchlings. So this is our first ever clutch update. This is the second clutch of 2021, and I am just going to go through everyone and ID what they are and talk about genetics. I feel like a lot of the time when we make these videos, we assume that everyone who's watching knows how to ID ball python genetics. Because this channel is educational and also for fellow ball python people. Ball python folks, you may feel like I'm going a little bit slow, but that's because I don't want to assume that everyone who's watching does actually know how to identify these genetics. So I'm going to take it one by one. We're going to talk about the traits of each and why I'm able to identify each of these hatchlings as the genetics that they are. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So the genes involved in this pairing were an orange dream, yellow belly, fire, pinstripe male to a super pastel female. So I'm going to start with the animal that is the least genetically powerful in the clutch, and then we're going to go up from there. So this little girl is our first animal from this clutch, and she is a pastel possible orange dream. So in terms of pastel, what I'm looking for, you can see that she's got some fading on her head here, and she's got a little bit of this yellow coloring on her back. A normal ball python pattern is going to look very dark. It's kind of a russet brown, and with her we're seeing a little bit more of that yellow color highlighting her dorsal, as well as down the sides. She's got a little bit more of a peachy color, and that fading on her head, which is an indication of pastel. Now with this hatchling, I think she's likely just pastel, but she does have a little bit of striping, what we call tracks, down here near her belly. And that's part of the reason that I'm thinking she might be orange dream. You can see it a little bit better on that side, but I don't think that it's strong enough to indicate really well that she's orange dream. So I'm going to be labeling her as a pastel possible orange dream, and those are the genetics that I am fairly certain she has. Alright, let's put her away. Alright, we'll see if I can get these guys to stay in frame here. So these 2 are pastel yellow belly. These are both males, and as you can see, same thing with the pastel. Both of them have a faded head stamp. They have that nice yellow coloring. But what I'm looking for in terms of yellow belly is that yellow belly is a slight pattern changer, not very much, but it tends to make the pattern just a little bit busier, a little bit more wonky. So you can see he's got some extra holes in the alien heads up here, some banding on the top. And then the other thing that I'm looking for with yellow belly is this bubbling or checkering near the belly pattern. So both of these hatchlings have this on both sides of the belly, and that is a strong indication of yellow belly in this animal. So these are, in my opinion, both really nice examples of pastel yellow belly, and they are both males. So we ended up with 2 males, same genetics. Both of them are really gorgeous, and surprisingly, even though they're looking a little bit afraid, neither of them have, none of the hatchlings in this clutch have struck at me yet, which is kind of surprising, but also not really, because the female that produced them is one of the most docile snakes I've ever met. So she's really great. Both of these hatchlings are great. But yeah, so in terms of genetics, these guys are pastel yellow belly. All right, so let's change up the genes a little bit. So this is a Lemon Blast Orange Dream. So this is the first hatchling in this clutch that has pinstripe. And in comparison to the last ones, you can see how different the pattern is. So Pinstripe causes basically that space between the alien heads on the snake to completely or almost completely disappear. So rather than having dark space in between the alien heads, this little girl has these kind of thin lines where that pattern has, the alien head pattern has expanded and basically gotten rid of the dark spaces in between. So when this female first hatched, I thought that she was a dragonfly. And after seeing her after she shed, she is not a dragonfly. She's a lemon blast, which is a pastel pinstripe. And she's also an orange dream. So with orange dream, I'm looking for this kind of peachy color. Sorry, forgive the dogs in the background. So with lemon blast, I'm looking for this kind of peachy color on the sides, which she has. She has some really nice orange tangerine coming in here. But she also has a lot of lengthening near the tail in her pattern here. And that's another thing that indicates to me she has orange dream. And in terms of quality, this girl is, in my opinion, a really nice example of a lemon blast orange dream. She's nice and yellow. She's got nice defined lines in that pattern. But yeah, not a dragonfly like I thought, just a really nice lemon blast orange dream. So this is the 4-gene combination without Pinstripe. So this is a pastel, fire, or firefly, orange dream, and yellow belly. So in terms of the pastel, you can see that. You can see the fading on his head and in between his alien heads. But the orange dream and the yellow belly are enhancing that a lot. He has a lot of blushing and fading in between his pattern. And then in terms of the fire, what I'm looking at is the cleanliness and the brightness of that yellow. So if I leave him there and grab one of his siblings. So you can see the yellow comparison here. On this pastel yellow belly sibling, it's just not quite as bright, not quite as clean. There's a little bit more of a brownish green color coming in here, whereas this guy is really bright, kind of a neon highlighter type yellow. He's not anywhere near as bright as he would be if he had, say, Desert Ghost or Enhancer or another gene like that, but he is really bright and beautiful for a firefly. And of course the yellow belly and the orange dream are also enhancing that. One really cool thing about this snake is that down here near his tail, he actually has a little bit of a ringer. And I'm not sure how easy it is to see that, but ringers are something we see sometimes with orange dream and also sometimes with het pied animals. And he doesn't have much of one, but he's got a little bit of orange and white here that doesn't quite match with the rest of his pattern. So that is really cool. And this guy is a male, so he'll be a really nice, powerful male for someone. All right, so now we're going to add Pinstripe and take away the orange dream. So this is a dragonfly, which is fire, pastel, and Pinstripe, also with yellow belly. So this is a dragonfly, yellow belly, pastel, fire, pinstripe, and yellow belly. So the dragonfly, you can see compared to the lemon blast earlier, he is a lighter yellow color. He's got a little bit more contrast and a little bit more blushing in this pinstripe pattern back here. His head is a little bit more blushed out on the top. And then in terms of the yellow belly, what I'm looking for is this pattern is pretty busy compared to other dragonflies that you see. There's a little bit more, kind of aberrant marks up here and near the belly, and that is what indicates to me that this is also a yellow belly. So this is a male, and when he hatched out, I thought that he and his sister, who I'm about to get out, were the same genetic combination. After seeing them both after that first shed, they are not. So let me go ahead and bring his sister out, and we'll see if you can spot the difference. So here's him, and then here is his sister. So the difference isn't immediately apparent, and it was really tough for me to see until after they both shed. But when they first hatched, I did think that these were the same genetic combination. So I knew that they were dragonfly, and I thought they were going to be yellow belly or orange dream. But the difference here, there's a couple of things I'm looking at. So if you look at both of these animals side by side, you can see that on this male, his pattern is more aberrant, and these pinstripe lines are a bit darker. On this female, she has more of a banding pattern, so more of a typical alien head banding pattern paired with the pinstripe. And there's a lot of blushing and lighter peach color in those actual pinstripe lines. The other thing that I'm looking at is her head is much more blushed on the top of it than his is. So if I take her head right here and show you, she has a lot lighter color back here on the top of her head. Versus this guy who is hiding his head right now, it's darker up front and it also carries that darkness further back. So this female, I'm going to go ahead and put this male away. This female was coincidentally, before she hatched, or before she shed, she was already going to be my holdback. My goal with this clutch was to get a female with as many of the dad's genes as possible. I love Pastel, but I don't want to have it in my males. And I don't have it in that male, but I don't mind having Pastel in females. And so if I was going to hold one back, I wanted it to be as, genetically powerful as possible. And this female is gorgeous, and she is all of the genes that were in this pairing. So she is a dragonfly, orange dream, yellow belly. That is Pastel, fire, pinstripe, orange dream, and yellow belly. You can see just overall she's cleaner, and I'm sure the camera is not really able to pick it up very well right now, but she is also a lighter yellow color. Not necessarily brighter, but just not quite as, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but she's lighter. And so that's what tells me that she is all 5 genes. And because she is a holdback, I will be able to, keep her back and let her grow, and then I will have the opportunity to prove her out at some point, which is going to be really exciting. And then in terms of availability, since I know some people are going to wonder, all of these snakes, except for this girl right here, are going to be available once they've taken at least 5 meals consecutively, and once they've had their second shed and are at least 100 grams. I prefer not to ship hatchlings out before they've had 5 consecutive meals, because that guarantees to me that they are good feeders and established feeders. They've built that habit. And 100 grams, I think it's really important that we, oh, she's doing a little scope. I think it's really important that we ensure that our animals are big enough to travel. And while I'm thinking about it, actually, I was going to show you this little marking here. So on this side of her neck, which I don't know if the camera will focus on it, but she's got like a butterfly mark on this side of her neck. And so I think I'm going to name her something related to butterflies, but I don't know what yet. So if you have a butterfly name, feel free to put it in the comments below, and I will definitely be open to suggestions on that. But yeah, so anyway, in terms of shipping, I prefer not to ship hatchlings before they're 100 grams. I think it's important that we make sure they're strong and healthy before we put them through shipping. And then the other thing is, I want them to shed at least one more time with me. And normally when I have hatchlings take at least 5 consecutive meals, that's not an issue. I've never had a hatchling that I've shipped out this year or last year that have taken fewer than 5 meals or more than 5 or 6 meals in between their sheds. These guys do grow fairly quickly, and having that second shed just helps me make sure that they're functioning okay. And I will definitely be posting updates of this girl, and man, she really likes scoping. I will be posting updates of this clutch and of this girl specifically. Obviously, she's going to be staying with me, but all of her brothers and sisters will be available. So if you are interested in one of them, feel free to go ahead and send me a message. I just will not be reserving any of these guys until they are posted on Morph Market and posted on Instagram, and they have taken those meals, and I can guarantee that they are healthy hatchlings and animals. And we're gonna have just a few quick seconds of chaos here. All of these guys trying to escape, but that concludes our video for today. Thanks so much for watching.